Okay.
Well, more or less came off without a hitch.
I warned you it was going to be a shit show.
Oh,
It was a great intro anyway.
Are we allowed to cuss on this channel, Rob?
You can do whatever you want. It's live. It'll be too late before they figure it out. Hello, everyone. And welcome back to what I think is either Return of the Son of the Show or Retro TV Rewind. I'm not sure at this point.
Yeah, we were called out by Check Yourself on that.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. It's like the Secret Society Red getting ribbed by Ebes, it's a similar thing.
That's okay. I actually have some news that I'm going to share at the end of the stream. That even Jeff doesn't know about yet, but
stay tuned.
Something exciting, a little teaser coming up. Let's see. We have Mark is here. Chadwick. Designed to make a brief appearance while on.
Jake's here.
Uh-oh.
Jay. Wow, we got a lot of people. It's the Nick influence.
That's right.
By the way, welcome, Nick. Nick from the Book Graveyard. Great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here. Robert, Jeffrey, nice to see you again.
Yes.
Well, you didn't see Rob in person too long ago, really. I wish I could have been there. You guys look like you were having way too much fun and spending way too much money. So
it was one of the best times of my life. Just the whole experience. Just amazing.
Well, you obviously have a saint for a wife who lets you, depart the domicile for 3+ weeks.
Oh,
not to mention spend half the family fortune on books.
She pushed me out the door. She's like, I'm thinking about it. You should go. You should
please.
Yeah, please.
You're retired now. I need some alone time.
They have an expression in Japan. I forgot the Japanese word, but it translates as wet leaves. It's for the husbands who've retired from their job and were never home. And the wives they're clinging to their wives like wet leaves. So they want them out of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, Pulp Fest was a lot of fun. Jeff, you're coming next year. Is that what you said?
I hope so, Nick. I just can't say for sure yet, but I hope so. One of these years, I'll get there.
You got to top Rob. That's a further destination. It's a further trip than what Rob did.
I could top him in the destination
country between Japan and here.
Yeah, I got to stop at a bookstore every country along the way. No, I couldn't top Rob in his book hauling, but I could definitely. Although I bought, counting what I'm having shipped home and what I bought for new books, I'm almost as many books stacks as Rob came up with. He had 551 books, Rob, something like that.
I don't remember. A lot.
Yeah.
A stack of banker boxes taller than me.
Got some good comments there. Oh wow.
No, he does have the time.
We got Joe here as well as Chris and Mark and everybody. Hey, great to see everyone. Well, Rob, you want to should we remind folks what we're doing here, or do we know what we're doing here? Or should we just dive in?
For anybody who's new, every month me and Jeff pick a genre, and then we each pick 2 examples from that genre. They can be what we consider the best TV shows of that genre. They can be the worst. Just anything that we want to talk about. Something that's obscure that people may have forgotten. There are no rules. We do have we'll call it a guideline that we try to pick shows that premiered prior to our 20th birthday. Just so that this doesn't break down into us talking about what was on HBO Max last night on every episode. We want to stick to vintage shows that are no longer airing.
Nick was doing some quick math in his head about one of his choices, I think.
It's mostly
I didn't know that was a rule.
It's mostly a rule for me and Jeff.
Yeah.
We don't check IDs at the door to see if our guests are,
Yeah, one of these days we'll have Tim on, and he'll only, 20 when he was 20, that'll be like 2000 2012 or something, right? So 2020. I don't know when he was 20, but so someone like
Last
him
year.
or Brian, pretty young. So we need that's Rob has that so they can have some wiggle room.
I need to get Brian in here so we can finally talk about Babylon 5 and Farscape, because they're outside my zone and I want to talk about them. So this month it is Anthology TV Series, and our guest is none other than the Charlie Rose of Pulp Island, the Tom Snyder of Pulp Island.
Tom Snyder,
the man who interviewed Paul Giamatti and Gary Lavisi and Mike Hawk.
That's right, Chad Deal, right?
Chad Deal.
Yes, that is correct.
Nick from the Book Graveyard.
I like those.
Already knows.
I gotta say, I like those names a lot better than BookTube Oprah or whatever they call
BookTube Oprah.
Oh, yeah. I can see why you would prefer those. Yeah. We won't call you the Larry King of
Larry King. That'd be awesome.
No, definitely not Larry King. Tom Snyder is much better choice. Charlie Rose, yeah. We've already dated ourselves, Rob, with those references, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure, according to my algorithm, Nick is the youngest person that is watching this.
Well,
Tim's out there. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Tim's out there. Yeah.
And
Goatman's probably pretty young. He says Tim is 14, so he has 6 years to go. Goatman says so.
Yeah, Tim wasn't allowed to sit with us.
That's a pretty impressive beard for 14.
How many live streams are we allowed to make fun of Tim on? All of them? Is that what's happening now?
I gotta love Tim. He's a good sport about it.
Yes.
Well, to talk about anthology shows, I think we're gonna have some pretty good variety on this show, but a lot of people immediately think of the big names, either the old studio or Playhouse 90, or what was it some of the other ones, the Chrysler Theater and Bob Hope Theater, the Richard Boone Show, all these old style ones. And then of course the ones people think of the most are the famous science fiction and fantasy and horror ones. But there are all kinds of anthology shows, cop anthology shows, like basically what Naked City is. I mean, they're ones that had maybe a framework of cast, but they would still have a story of the week. You could even maybe say Route 66 was kind of an anthology show. So I think we'll have a pretty cool variety today.
By that definition, are you saying that Law and Order is an anthology show?
No, I guess not, because that one doesn't really talk about the private lives of the cast, but they are front and center through most of the story. So
shows that they're called, I believe they're called hybrid anthologies. They're shows like Love Boat and Fantasy Island that have a recurring setting and a recurring cast, and that cast job is just basically to interlace the other episodes that are on there that are separate with different cast members telling different stories. So those are called hybrid or semi-anthologies.
Yeah, they're not 100% anthology like
so that. Would Quantum Leap and Sliders, would those be considered that?
No, because I don't think their stories.
Yeah.
The cast is the center of the story. And for like example, on Love Boat or Fantasy Island, you have a separate story that happens to take place on Fantasy Island, and the other characters just sort of connect the tissue with them.
Yeah, Mr. Rourke's there, but he's kind of facilitating the fantasies, I guess. It's a slippery slope, so you could kind of, I'm sure, waffle around between them. The true anthology, of course, would have at most a host who would introduce or maybe bookend the show, like Alfred Hitchcock Presents or something.
And I will later on be giving an example for one of mine of a hybrid anthology that people may have forgotten.
All right. Well, Nick, you want to kick us off with one of your choices?
Well, my number one choice is the best anthology that's ever been made.
Hard to argue.
It's the Twilight Zone, man. Twilight Zone. I don't know how you want me to do this. I got a top 14 episode list here.
Well, you want to just talk a little bit about why you love the show so much, and then move into some of your favorite episodes.
Well, I mean, why do you like it so much? I guess it's because I never thought about it until I discovered like Pulp Fiction and stuff, but that's essentially what it is. They're just like these really kind of out there stories that touch on, it can be historical or horror or westerns or science fiction, and it's all just a little weird, right? It's just a little strange. And I just remember watching it as a kid. Probably one of the first like black and white shows, that I watched, because when I grew up, everything was in color already. Not like you old fogies.
Color. Even the real world wasn't in color when I was a kid.
70s sure weren't. They were all sepia toned. Well, I think one thing we should. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Nick is correct. This is hands down. There's not even a close second. Twilight Zone is the best anthology ever created. I mean, you can rewatch those episodes over and over again. It always had amazing writers, which is key to it. And that writing just holds up over time. With also great actors. Just everything about that was so slick and so well done.
Yeah.
I won't disagree. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was going to say, I won't disagree, but if you watch the show all the way through, there are some clunkers in there, because as much of a genius as Rod Serling was, he was just exhausting himself by writing the majority of the episodes. And some of them, especially the more comedic ones that he tries once in a while, don't stand up so well. But with the huge batting average of that show, it's incredible, really. Sorry, what were you going to say, Nick?
The whole fourth season is not good.
When they stretched it to an hour, which is ironic because the Alfred Hitchcock hour is really good. So they figured out how to do that one well. When the Alfred Hitchcock show, they had the Presents that was 30 minutes, and then they went to the hour-long format for 3 seasons. Those are even better than the 30-minute ones, I think. But Twilight Zone, they couldn't figure out how to stretch that story.
Yeah, they were just after the advertiser money. But even those episodes, if you were to go in there and cut out the fat and the repetition and scale them down, they'd probably hold up with the rest. Or
some of them are good. The rest of them. Jess-Belle,
they just added so much drawing it out that it jacked up the pacing and everything else.
Have you seen Jess-Belle, one of the hour-long ones, Nick? That's like a Manly Wade Wellman story. It's great. It's set in Appalachia.
And it's like the
it's got Anne lady. Francis, the witch lady there, and that's a good one. It's a little slow, but it's by the standards of season 4, it's very good. But anyway, the main thing to also mention about Twilight Zone is Rod Serling was writing all these plays for like Playhouse 90 and stuff. Very hard-hitting plays, but he kept getting censored by standards and practices when he would get too political or too much touching on a sociological issue like racism or whatever. So that's kind of one of the reasons why he launched and created the Twilight Zone, is he could get away with a lot of that stuff in a fantastical setting, and then the standards and practices almost never bothered him any.
Yeah.
So,
and that is one of the beauty of weird tales, science fiction, fantasy, is a lot of the best of it you can get by with talking about those issues in a roundabout way, where if you just present it as a drama, people would be outraged.
You got to trick them.
Yeah, exactly.
He's from Cincinnati, right?
Serling.
And he went to college in Dayton here, in Yellow Springs.
Really?
Antioch College.
What doesn't Dayton have? Dayton has all these great bookstores and the museum, the aircraft museum, and it's got a university that Rod Serling went to. What else are you hiding up your sleeve there in Dayton?
I think Lawrence Block went there too.
Very cool. Do you want to catch us up with some comments, Rob, before we let Nick launch into his favorites?
Sorry, I'm going to have to skip a few here because there are a lot today. You drawing a crowd, Nick.
Yeah.
Let's see. The now.
Yeah, some people mentioning some of the writing, and I didn't like the Jordan Peele newer version, I'm afraid.
Hey, I thought we weren't talking about that, Jeff.
Sorry.
I haven't seen most of the remakes of these types of shows, so
Did you like the 80s one?
kids these days and their color TVs.
I
That's
love the
right.
80s one's first season that was kind of based off of some of the stories that were appearing in the Twilight Zone magazine. There were some excellent episodes in that. But then it kind of went to a half-hour format. It wasn't quite as good, and then they've had a couple of reboots. So, born in Syracuse, New York. He was from New York, is what Mark says. Maybe he just went to school there.
Yeah, but he was living in Cincinnati when he started the Twilight Zone.
Time to Black the Troll. What was this? Oh,
Yes.
this guy.
A lot of Beaumont and Matheson episodes.
Yes, and also Earl Hamner Jr., the guy who went on to create the Waltons. He wrote all the kind of Wellman-esque episodes, like the Bewitching Pool and what's the Hunt, where the guy is dead, but he's out there with his dog, being tempted to go to hell or whatever. Yeah. I'll stop talking about episodes because one of them might be Nick's list. All right, thanks, Rob. I think you don't have to worry about catching all of them.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Just wanted to make sure people were getting their due there.
All right. I haven't found out about Rod Serling's personal life yet, but I do have a biography.
He sounds like he was a really good guy, actually, and a good family man. Very busy. He was a paratrooper, I think, in World War II or the Korean War, maybe. I forgot exactly.
Writing machine.
He was a writing machine and a smoking machine. He was like a 4-pack a day guy, which is why he didn't live very long, unfortunately.
Lives in Cincinnati. Okay, Nick, it's all you. Some of your favorites.
All right, so I started off with number 14, which is the Living Doll episode.
Oh, I love that episode.
So it was the talking Tina.
Talkie Tina, yeah.
And who's out to actually kill human beings.
Well, kill a abusive human being anyway.
And the episode was a direct inspiration for the movie's Child's Play.
That makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
So I just thought that one was cool because of the Child's Play.
Well, it's really creepy too, which my name's Taki Tina and I don't like you, and I'm gonna kill you.
And then I got 13 as Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up?
I don't think I have any of that one.
That one is where there's like a snowstorm and this bus is forced to stop, and they stop at this diner and all the people get off the bus, and then these two police come and they're like, there's been a crash, a UFO crash, and we followed the footsteps to the diner. And they there's one extra person in the diner, but no one on the bus like remembers who all was on the bus, so they have to like figure out who the alien is that's sitting in the diner.
Great episode.
And that one's a slightly comic episode, I would say, or not.
It is, and I usually and it's like a top list here, and I don't usually go for the comedy, but
that one's really good.
I do, and the reason that it's on here is because of Jack Elam. Jack Elam.
Yeah. Lazy Eye Jack Elam. Well, actually, it's Glass Eye Jack Elam. He's awesome in everything.
That guy makes that entire episode, and he was in Kansas City Confidential too.
Oh, that guy's in so many movies, and he almost steals the show in every single one.
And
do you know he was an accountant before he became an actor? Could you look at that guy and think he was an accountant? He was doing he was doing the taxes for a bunch of actors, and that's one of them said, "Why don't you give it? You have a good face for a villain. Why don't you give it a try?" And they got into movies after that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is wild. I saw where he talks about how he got the eye incident, where he got in a fight at a Boy Scout thing.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, I think it was a glass eye. Was that right, or just an injured eye? I can't remember exactly, but
I think it was injured, and then he didn't do anything about it. And he said as time went, it just kept going further. And then once he became an actor, they're like, "Oh, you got the money to fix it," and they're like, "Don't fix it. You're going to mess up your entire career."
yeah, that's the thing. Those heavies, those guys, they could write their ticket. They were never out of work.
So after the Martian, I got Steel, the boxing episode.
Oh, Richard
Oh,
Matheson.
that's a great episode. Lee Marvin.
That's Richard Matheson. That's Lee Marvin. And I think it's kind of cool because it's like, it's a very relevant to what's been going on now, where like AI is taking jobs and stuff. So they got these robots doing boxing, and it's this man versus this thing that's taking his job.
Yeah, that's yeah, it was a great heavy. You have a hell of a voice, Rob. And Goatman's listening to us while he's driving. Yeah, no, that's an excellent episode, very poignant, kind of, I think. The human side fighting against the machine side. That's a really good choice, and a very Nick choice with the boxing angle. So
So then I got the dummy, which is the ventriloquist dummy.
Cliff Robertson, yeah.
And even though like it's so overdone now, it was
not back then. No.
Yeah, back then it wasn't. And I remember seeing it as a kid, and that was it. It was terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah. There was the portmanteau film Dead of Night, which had that dummy, one of the stories about the possessed dummy, which surely influenced that one probably. But the Twilight Zone one is very different in its way. It's very cool. Rob should be the next Art Bell. There you go.
And then I got number 10 is the Odyssey of Flight 33.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is
which one is that?
It's where they're on the plane. They're going from London to New York City. And then
they go through like a time warp or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then they go back in time, and New York City is like all jungle, and there's a dinosaur down there.
And then the ending is just kind of, they're still out there floating around. Will they get back? It's really, it's something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right. The ending was dark, and I just like it because it's just pure Pulp Fiction. There really wasn't like this other stuff. It kind of has like lessons, It's kind of,
some of them definitely have morals, and other ones just want to, scare the crap out of you. So,
and I was when I was writing up this list, I was like, have you guys ever seen or read Stephen King's Langoliers?
Yeah, someone just mentioned it in the chat. Yeah, that's like it's got to be an inspiration for King's Langoliers.
It is. Yes, he mentions it because I was looking into it.
Yeah, my favorite Stephen King book is Dance Macabre, his book about movies and TV shows and other books. And, it's pretty awesome, even if he disses Kolchak the Night Stalker. But he talks a lot about TV shows that terrified him and spurred his imagination as a kid. So, yeah, very cool.
But he mentions he does, but he mentions it. He admits to it.
He tips someone off. Lies. Yeah. Yeah, he'll cop to that. Under the Dome is like an 800-page behemoth that's basically ripping off a Twilight Zone episode, one of the last season ones. Anyway, sorry, Nick, please continue.
And then number 9 is The Nick of Time, which is the picture you used for me in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yes.
William Shatner, right?
Yeah. With the newlywed couple breaks down in the small town in Ohio. And then William Shatner is like the superstitious guy. And they have these little fortune-telling dime machines sitting on the table.
It's like a little devil or something.
Yeah, and it has a little bobblehead devil. and he keeps asking it, and he becomes obsessed about it.
Oh, so many good episodes that they're showing pictures of. Yeah.
Oh.
I know I knew a guy online that bought a replica of one of those little things that as far as I know, it wasn't supernatural, but that was cool, little artifact.
Yeah, I know you can get replicas of those and of the Talking Tina doll. The Talking Tina is pretty pricey though.
I bet. Oh yeah, so many good episodes. That's a good one. Everyone who bags on William Shatner's acting, they need to watch him in some of these early anthology shows pre-Star Trek. The guy is amazing. He's an amazing actor. He was so good in a lot of those.
Where are we at? Nick of Time. So then we got is number 8 is the Perchance to Dream.
Perchance to Dream. Remind me, Nick, what's the story?
That is in season 1, and that has the cat girl, where the guy is like he's got heart problems and he hasn't slept in like 3 days, and he goes to the psychiatrist, and he's afraid to go to sleep because this woman in his nightmares is trying to kill him, but if he stays awake any longer, like he's gonna die naturally, and it's like just totally being inside of a nightmare.
Yeah. No, yeah, and no, that one's a very good one. I remember that. Yeah, sometimes the titles I have to get the story synopsis to make the connection. That's a good one. And I think is a Hugwug or something. He mentioned Shatner was in an episode of Thriller. Hold your beer. It's gonna coming up.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting ahead of us. We have some shows coming up.
Yeah, we do have. So I think you're on number 7 now, Nick.
Yeah. Number 7 is the Come Wander With Me, which is it's like the rockabilly kid.
Yeah, that one's really creepy. Yeah.
And he goes to like the Ozarks because he's trying to find old folk songs to have a new hit.
I think that's maybe the last episode.
And then he meets the woman, and she's singing this like haunting song about murder. Yeah. And that was just very I don't know. It was very folkish, you know.
Some of them are definitely got a Manly Wade Woman vibe for sure. I think courtesy of Earl Hamner Jr. That's a good one. I think that was it Gary Crosby? What was some Crosby one of Frank's sons, I think.
What is in the episode?
Yeah, who's the singer? Plays the singer. The jerk singer that's coming to town to try to rip off some local folk numbers.
Wait, you think he's a jerk?
Yeah, he's a creep.
You think? That's what that's what they used to do. That's how like the Carter family.
Oh yeah, no, I'm what he was doing was very normal, but the way he acted, especially with the girl, he was a kind of a jerk ass. So that's so that we don't feel bad when he gets what's coming to him. So spoiler, but
and then speaking of people being ripped off, number 6 is Little Girl Lost, written by Richard Matheson.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Where the little girl has found this dimensional door in her room, and then she goes through it, and then their parents can't find her, but they hear her voice all throughout the house, and which is very obviously poltergeist,
Yeah, that's a really good episode too. I mean, we could be here all day just on the Twilight Zone, frankly, but.
Yeah, I found this quote from Richard Matheson where somebody asked him about it. And he said that before Poltergeist came out, Spielberg asked him for a cassette of Little Girl Lost, the episode. And Richard Matheson sent him one. And then he sent it back, and he said that he never heard anything else about it. And then Poltergeist came out, and someone was like, "Hey, they made your Twilight Zone into a movie." And he was like, "Oh, I see that." And then it says, he says, "Of course, there was a lot more to the movie, but certainly that was a part of it." And he says that he thinks that Steven Spielberg was aware of what he did, and he felt guilty, so that's why he hired him to write the Twilight Zone movie.
That makes complete sense. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is only one aspect of Poltergeist, but it's a major aspect. So, yeah. No, that's Hollywood, so at least Spielberg tried to make it right a little bit, but just give the guy a story credit or inspiration credit or something.
And then next is The Hitchhiker.
Yes.
Which is a pretty famous episode.
Love Inger Stevens too.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, where she's driving across the country and she keeps saying the same hitchhiker. And I thought it was cool because this one, I first saw this episode, but I was listening to Suspense, the radio show, and I came upon that episode, and it was Orson Welles playing the Inger Stevens character. Orson Welles was the one driving the car and keeps saying the hitchhiker. And then when I was looking this up, Suspense was the third radio play that it was on. It was actually first appeared on the Orson Welles show, the radio show.
Mercury Theater or something like that?
No, it's just called the Orson Welles show.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's a very creepy episode. I showed it. That's the first Twilight Zone classic one I ever showed to my wife, and she was creeped out by it. So it was effective.
And when Serling rewrote it, when he rewrote the episode, he changed the main character to a woman, and he named the woman after his daughter, which is very weird, right?
That.
Because spoiler alert, she's dead.
She's dead, baby.
I was like, wow, that is so eerie. Like, as a parent, you wouldn't want anything, anything even remotely close to that.
Yeah. Well, by all accounts, he was a great dad, though. So we'll just chalk that up as he thought he was doing something nice for his daughter.
Number 4 is Stop at Willoughby.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful episode. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. This is one of my favorites. And my old Instagram account was Next Stop Willoughby, named after this episode. And it's actually a very, very dark episode when you stop and think about it. Because this guy's, he's at work. He's under a lot of pressure. He's got a lot of pressure at home. The wife wants to belong to the country club, and all he wants is an easy life. And after losing this account at his ad agency job, he falls asleep on the train back home. And when he wakes up and he looks outside, and it's 1888, a little town called Willoughby. And man, yeah, I just love it. And it's cool because I've watched it so many times, but it actually gives you a hint of what's going to come when he's having the hard time. He's having this nervous breakdown at work, and his secretary's like, "What can I do?" And he's like, "Here's what you can do. You can give me a razor and a diagram of the human anatomy showing me where all the arteries are." Right? And you're like, "Oh." It was just like a little hint.
Wait a second. Hold on. Tim has not seen the Twilight Zone?
No, he's never seen it.
What?
Oh,
Tim. Hand in your geek nerd card right now. Sorry.
You need to watch. You need to binge watch Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Did they still do that thing?
I thought he watched To Serve Man when he talked about that story. Didn't you watch that, Tim? I thought you watched that episode.
I think he just knows it because of pop culture.
Yeah.
Well, that's a problem with some of these, but there's a lot that won't have been talked about that you will really get a lot of bang from. What were you saying, Rob? I think I cut you off.
I haven't had cable forever, but does Sci-Fi still do their Twilight Zone marathons?
I think they do their their New Year's marathons.
Yeah. Every time it's just park my ass in front of the TV for 3 days.
Oh yeah, do that, Tim. Just on New Year's, if you're not drinking too many beers or whatever, even if you are, park yourself in front of the TV and watch those marathons on Syfy or whatever it's called now. But
Syfy,
yeah, it's SYFY. Did you remember when they changed the?
Yeah, it's Sci-Fi.
I know, but we say Syfy because it looks stupid. Well, anyway, yeah, that's a great one. But there's one that's similar along the similar lines that I hope you're going to mention, which is even better. So we'll see if you got it on your top 3 or whatever.
Yeah, top 3. Number 3 is The After Hours with our Lady Anne Francis, where she goes to the department store looking to buy a gift for her mom. And she goes up to the 9th floor and it's all empty. It's so creepy, dude.
Yeah.
And there's that salesman up there who's also very odd. And there's just a gold thimble. And she's like, I'll take that one thing in the case. She goes downstairs. She's like, oh, the thimble's scratched. She goes to the manager. She's like, I got this on the 9th floor. And he's like, there's no 9th floor.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so creepy.
The idea behind that is so out there. It's great.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, young Anne Francis. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
No. Beautiful young Anne Francis does not hurt. No.
Was that before or after Forbidden Planet? Do you guys know?
It would have been after. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because I think Forbidden Planet was 59. Rob, is that right? Or is it even earlier? 50s, yeah. And I think the Twilight Zone started in 59 and ended in 64, so it would have been after. But she was still, she was still in her glory for sure. She was beautiful up until she passed away. She was a lovely, lovely lady. Apparently, very nice too. Nice.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And then number 2 is The Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
Of course, got to have that one in there.
Of course, it's gonna be up
there.
You
can't make a top list of Twilight Zone episodes without that one. It's against the rules.
So I think everybody knows that. Think of the one where William Shatner's on the plane. There's a gremlin outside,
freaking out.
That one was written by Richard Matheson, also.
Yep. Oh.
I'm sure it's there. Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Now this is one where the Twilight Zone movie kind of one-upped it in the special effects anyway. The gremlin was much creepier in that one, but what William Shatner was, the whole show in that episode. He was great.
And then number 1. Can you guys guess what number 1 is?
Howling Man?
Oh God, no.
God, no. That's a great episode.
Oh my God, I can't stand the Howling Man.
Really?
Yes.
Well, my one number 1 would be Walking Distance. So I don't know if yours.
Which one's that?
That's the one where it's very similar to Last Up at Willoughby, but it's where the guy, this ad exec or whatever, stops off for gas and he realizes he's really close to the town where he grew up. And he walks in there and he walks into the past and he sees himself as a child and he's trying to, relive, again, kind of go back into the past. But his dad finally figures out who he is and says, this is his time, your time when you were younger. That's an amazing episode, Walking Distance. And then he just goes right by it. No, I don't know that one. Don't like that one.
No. I do like that one. Yeah.
So what's your number 1, Nick?
My number 1 is The Mirror Image, where the woman is in the bus station.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And like stuff keeps moving and people keep saying like, hey, you've already talked to me. You've already asked me that. And then she starts seeing herself like sitting on the bench through the mirror.
Martin Milner. Yeah.
Oh my God. That one is just like the creepiest episode there is.
That's pretty creepy one. I really like the one with Nemaya Persoff as he's the passenger on. Is it I forgot which ship it is, but it's the one that's going to be bombed by himself, basically, because he was a German U-boat commander who sunk this ship, and he's cursed to constantly live over and over again as one of the passengers, while he knows that something bad's going to happen. Someone mentioned in the comments, Time Enough at Last, the Burgess Meredith famous one where.
Yeah, that's on the honorable mention. I mean, that's a great episode, but I don't know. Like, just because we like books and stuff.
Well, it's the easy, ironic one to always talk about. There's a bunch of other ones. There's one called 2 with Charles Bronson and Elizabeth Montgomery from the
Mhm.
lady from Bewitched, and
Mhm.
it's like in the aftermath of or during a war. You assume she's Russian, and how they're the only ones in this kind of rubble-strewn, deserted city, and how they kind of start to have a kind of an agreement. There's The Grave with Lee Marvin, one of the Western ones. It's got a whole cast of these fantastic Western actors, and probably even Jack Elam's in there. I know Strother Martin and Lee Van Cleef are, and that one's fantastic. There's The Jungle, where the guy, his wife had like a bunch of witch doctor stuff to protect them from the curse of these African, the African tribe that's trying to get revenge on him because he was part of, basically, I think the idea is they cut down some sacred tree or something when they're building a dam. And so he's walking through the city at night, hearing jungle noises and things like that. It's very, very cool one. There's so many, it's hard to even mention them all.
I know when I was going through the list, just looking at them, reading them all, trying to remember, I was like, this is incredible. This is like an incredible run here.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with the clinkers, there's so many good ones.
Yeah. And agreeing with the comments that It's a Good Life is also one of my favorites. Billy Mooney
That one's hard to watch.
Such a
though.
creepy
Wow.
kid. And then when they
Hard
did
to
when they read the Jerome Bixby short story,
Yeah, right.
and it turns out in the story it's only like a 4-year-old.
Wow,
That's
that's
doing
even
this
creepier.
shit to people. It's like, oh, that's terrifying.
There's the one with speaking of Bewitched, Dick York, guy who played the first Darren, where remember, I don't know, it's not Penny for Your Thoughts. I forgot the title, but he's the put upon banker guy, and he drops some coin and it stays standing straight up, and then he can start to hear everyone's thoughts. And that one's really good. The Hunter and the Hunting. Yeah, that's called The Hunt, Mark, and that's got what is his name? He was in El Dorado. I can't think of his name right now. But he talks kind of like this. He's really good. He goes out hunting with his dog, and then he comes back and nobody can see him. It's because he's died, and he's wandering around, and then he's approached by, to enter heaven or to enter hell. That's a really cool one. So many good ones. Well, we'll be here all day if we keep talking about the Twilight Zone, I guess, Rob. So Nick, any final thoughts on the Twilight Zone? Besides telling Tim he better get off his butt?
Yeah, I don't know. They just did everything. I mean, you could have like scary. There's even like a feel good episodes.
Oh yeah, there's several of them.
The Kick the Can, where they're at the nursing
yeah.
home, and they go outside and they play Kick the Can, and they all become young kids again.
The other boxing one, The Gift, where I think it's called The Gift. I can't remember it. It's got Ivan Dixon, who was on Hogan's Heroes, and he was also a noted film director. He was a black fighter, and he was trying to, or maybe it's The Wish or something.
Yes, and the kids listening at home on the radio.
Kid, yeah, he's like the boyfriend of his mom, and he's the big tall wish. That's what it is, and he's wishing that the guy's going to win his fight, but the guy just can't bring himself to believe it because he's been a loser for so long. It's kind of downbeat, but it shows the love, a positive love of this kid, So, yeah, there are plenty of nice ones too. There's the great one with Donald Pleasance. What is that called? Where he's Donald Pleasance is in a great Christmas one where he is kind of a Christmas one. He's an old retiring teacher, and he thinks that his career has been a waste, and then he's visited by all the ghosts of the young people, the young men that he taught, and telling him how much
his life made a difference.
Yeah, exactly. It's great episode. And Donald Pleasance has this old age makeup, which is incredible when you watch it. It's unbelievable quality of the old age makeup. The special effects on that show were somewhat limited, but very effective, I think, for the most part. The rails. Yeah.
No spoilers.
Well, any last thoughts, Nick, before we move on to Rob's show?
No, I think everyone knows the Twilight Zone pretty well.
Well, except for Tim.
Except for Tim.
I do have
Sorry, Tim.
I do have
We're
one of the
harping on it.
let me see. I can never figure out how to do this.
Yeah, misspent youth watching way too much TV.
That's
Well,
not
Rob,
right.
what's your choice there, sir?
I don't know. I just messed something up.
Uh-oh. Well, it wouldn't be a live stream if something didn't get messed up. So
One of these days I'll figure out how to do the big screen thing. I do have I have both of them, the Starlog episode guides, which does have
a Twilight Zone episode.
all of the Twilight Zone episodes in there.
Nice.
Which
That was before a lot of books were coming out on the show. Now there's a plethora of books about the Twilight Zone. But
Rob, did you ever say what your favorite episode was?
that is
hard.
a hard one to do. I do love It's a
That's
Good
why you made-
Life. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. I can't remember the name of the episode where the guy builds the bomb shelter. And
Oh,
keeps trying to tell people, and they sort of laugh him off, and then they have the air raid. And he goes in there, and everybody's knocking at his door, and he's like, "No,
Yeah.
you're not coming in."
yeah, you bastards. Yeah, you didn't listen to me.
There
Yeah.
were just so many fantastic
So many.
episodes on there.
Yeah.
They're so well written.
What's the one where then what is it then? Something well, I forgot the full title, but it's part of it's Walter Jameson. It's got Kevin McCarthy from the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and it turns out he's like an immortal, and he keeps trying to, and he's going to marry this professor's daughter.
Mhm.
He's been alive for years and years, and the professor or someone who's he starts doubting him, and he finds in this book that this picture of the same guy in the Civil War era photo. Yeah, that's a really good one. This Long Live Walter Jameson or something like that. Anyway, there's we like I said, we could be here all day.
To Serve Man is also a classic as well.
Yeah, To Serve Man. Yeah. All right. Well, Twilight Zone is amazing. We're probably never going to see another anthology as good as that, but there are many other good anthologies, including the one that Rob's going to talk about. If you're going to start with the big gun, Rob.
Oh yeah. So the one that gets mentioned with Twilight Zone a lot is The Outer Limits, which was Twilight Zone that leaned more towards the science fiction end of things. Not nearly as tightly written as the Twilight Zone was, but still, I'll figure this out someday.
The Outer Limits also had a Richard Matheson penned episode that was ripped off for a movie.
Yes, it did. That would be,
Which one was that?
in fact, a couple right there. Soldier.
Right.
He sued. Who was it? Was it Fox?
It was Harlan Ellison. Actually, it was Harlan Ellison.
Oh, sorry, Harlan Ellison. Yeah.
Sued Happy Harlan Ellison. Sued about the Terminator.
Yeah.
Ripping it off. Oh, that was Demon with the Glass Hand. Sorry, that was Demon with the Glass Hand.
Yeah, Demon with the Glass Hand. That was the Terminator, yeah.
Yeah. What was Soldier?
Well, now I'm getting my ripped off. See, this is why I'm bad, because I'm getting my two confused. I think they both had
maybe they both were pulled for the Terminator.
I have it in my notes somewhere.
And this ran from 1960 to 1962, only a full first season and then a kind of truncated second season.
Yeah. And so this was a Leslie Stevens creation, who also did Search, which we talked about on one of the previous episodes.
And Stony Burke, which is a fantastic rodeo drama.
Which I haven't seen.
Great. It's great.
So yeah, ran 2 seasons, 49 episodes. Its most famous writers would be Harlan Ellison, who did both Soldier and Demon with the Glass Hand, which is also in that one. Which
the Six Finger.
Yeah, the Six Finger. Another one of my favorites that was the mad scientist who created a way to accelerate evolution, and
they called them the monsters were called bears, the bear of the week, basically. Yeah.
And there's so Robert Culp was in 2 of my favorite episodes, which was Demon with the Glass Hand and Architects of Fear, which has a
Robert.
premise similar to the original comic of Watchmen, where they're going to create some alien that is so terrifying it will finally bring all of mankind together and stop nuclear war and all that, which does not work. And what oh god.
There's the Xanti Misfits. The Xanti Misfits.
The Xanti Misfits is probably their most famous episode.
Have you seen that one, Nick, with the Bruce Dern playing a real kind of punk character and kind of ripped out of a noir crime novel, kind of, and confronted with an alien invasion kind of sorts? Or
No,
it's not even alien invasion. It's more like we're giving you our prisoners, our alien prisoners. So,
I gotta say, I haven't watched a lot of Outer Limits. And
if you like the Twilight Zone, you would like Outer Limits. It's
well, I
different.
think I've watched. No, I mean I've seen episodes, but I don't like. I was just like, this isn't the Twilight Zone, and I think it's because of what Rob said.
Yeah,
that it's the science fiction version.
Yeah,
so it's just all
we
like
all know what you think of science fiction,
like the spacemen and stuff, and I was just like,
yeah,
not all of it though. There's some really creepy episodes you would like a lot.
Yeah, it's a darker, more in some
More
cases more
philosophical, I guess.
pessimistic version of mankind and technology. And then they did have one comedic episode, which was a controlled experiment.
Yeah.
That had Barry Morris and Carol O'Connor with a British accent about them Martians coming to Earth to study this strange thing called murder that people do.
It's a fun episode.
Yeah,
But
it's a fun episode, but it's like it feels so out of place with all the rest of them that have a darker tone, but it was still fun.
They but some of you would really like, I think, Nick, there's one called It Came Out of the Woodwork, where it's this kind of, what is it exactly, Rob? Is it an alien? It's just something that there's like
extra dimensional.
Yeah,
alien.
That's a pretty violent, brutal episode. The one with Robert Duvall, where they make him over to look like one of the aliens so he can infiltrate them. Some really great ones.
Corpus Earthling, Invisibles.
The Bolero Shield, that's a really good one. Yeah. I confess, a lot of people are, it's like, Addams Family or the Munsters. Which one are you? Which one are you the more of a fan of? Like, you can't like both, but are you a Twilight Zone guy or are you an Outer Limits guy? And a lot of hardcore science fiction people prefer more the Outer Limits because it's more science fictional. I like the Outer Limits. I respect it a lot. It's got beautiful cinematography, some really good stories, but I'm a Twilight Zone guy for sure.
Yeah, and the Twilight Zone is a lot because the Outer Limits was also an hour long.
Right.
So there are some episodes where, again, you can run into that
a little bit
repetition and pacing where they need to tighten it up a bit. But
a feasibility study. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. They're
Adams and Twilight Zone next.
I'm a Munsters guy, although I like the Addams Family very well too. And I like the Outer Limits a lot too. And there's the show looks fantastic. Half of the episodes were filmed by a DP called Conrad Hall, who is an amazing cinematographer. And it's full of deep blacks and shadows and very atmospheric show.
And that one episode I talked about, Architects of Fear, where they were turning a human, basically genetically altering them into a monster, so it would seem like they were being attacked by an alien from outer space. Evidently, the alien design on that was so terrifying that some of the affiliate stations blacked out those scenes and refused to show them on television because it was just too
That's
scary.
Crazy. When you watch it now, you go,
right. It's rubber or paper mache. I don't know if they have a picture of that one in here or not. But.
The Xanti Misfits are still creepy as hell, though. I think you can buy. In fact, Chadwick, who's in the chat, probably has a Xanti Misfit replica somewhere on his shelves. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, if you can. Let's see which page is on.
Oh yeah, that thing. That's a weird looking thing. I remember that.
Evidently, that was too terrifying for television.
Yeah.
There's
Different world.
is it Zzz or something? It's what's the one about the bee queen who appears in a very seductive female form,
she
human form
seduces the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really good ones. Yeah, season 1. Yeah, season 2 was considered a drop off in quality. Speaking of William Shatner, he's in what is it Cold Hands, Warm Heart, something like that, where he's a lone
Cold Hands, Warm Heart.
spaceman who gets some kind of space bug or something. I don't know what happens to him, but
season 2, they lost what was the other guy's name?
Oh,
aside from Leslie Stevens, but the other Stefano, yeah. So he left season 2 because they wanted to drop the like you said, the bear of the week, the monster of the week angle.
Probably too expensive.
He thought that was a mistake. So the season 2 ones doesn't have that.
They still have, but not as many.
Creepy alien of the week thing, the way
Right.
that season 1 did.
They do go all out, and it's not a great episode, but the one with Ralph Meeker, the fish monster ones, they made a whole bunch of those in that season episode. So there were some. I think, is it Wah Chang? Is that the guy who designed a bunch of those? I think his name is Wah Chang. Anyway,
everyone's falling asleep in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
because of the title of the episode with the bee girl.
Oh, God.
We are buzzing, not snoring.
Yeah. They're not snoring. They're talking about the episode I mentioned, the queen bee lady that takes on a very delicious, form and seduces the guy who's studying the hive or whatever. And they're like alien bees or something. Rob, remind me if I could very well be wrong on the plot of that one.
That one's from the first episode, Galaxy Being. That was Cold Hands, Warm Heart. There's the Xanti from the Xanti Misfits.
Yeah,
that is from Soldier, Six Finger. I can't remember the name of that episode now.
Me either. They have plenty of
iRobot. They did a version of
iRobot with Leonard Nimoy. That's a good one.
That I've watched that many times.
Yeah.
Demon in a Glass Sand.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of episodes that a lot of people probably watched over and over again that are the big guns kind of that show. And then there's ones that are lesser known that are still interesting. I have this series on Kino, put out a really nice Blu-ray set chock full of commentary tracks and things. And I do like it, but I've watched the Twilight Zone Blu-rays multiple times more.
Oh, yeah.
So
basically, after the Twilight Zone, everything's going to feel like a letdown now.
Well, I mean, I guess that's not fair. There's a lot of other great shows out there, but yeah, it's hard to compete with the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned earlier Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which I almost picked because I loved Alfred Hitchcock Presents, but we'll save one of those big guns for a feature.
Yeah, and I had never seen the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, which never reran in my neck of the woods when I was watching all the old black and white stuff on TV because there were so few channels to watch. So that's why I like to watch a bunch of these old shows back in the 70s. A buddy of mine from Canada sent me, he got the other set, I guess, from Australia, and he sent me the British 3-season sets on DVD of that show, and I've been watching some of that, and that's excellent. I like it more than the half an hour presents. There's a really great, you would like this one, Nick. There's one probably on YouTube. There's one with Christopher Lee, who's on the run from a Satan worshiping cult, and this group of filmmakers are trying to make a movie, and they really like his look, and they see this somehow. Someone released this tape of this mass, this satanic mass. And it kind of outs Christopher Lee's character, and he's like, "What did you do? They're going to get me and kill me." That's a really good one. There's another one.
Cool. Every time I've watched the Alfred Hitchcock anything, I'm just like, I'm not into it. I think it's really not. It's not that weird. Like the twists are I don't know.
What about the movies like Psycho and Rear Window and Vertigo and all
Yeah,
that?
I don't know. They're okay. I mean, I like Psycho, but I don't get the Alfred Hitchcock appeal to the level that it is, you know.
Well, I think if you look at most movies after Hitchcock's cinema techniques, that everyone copied his style of filmmaking from the stuff he did back in the 30s, and that's partly why there's a cult around him, I guess. Plus, I just think he's really smart about the writers he hires. So
The one that always sticks in my mind was, I think, the very first episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents Revenge.
yes,
About
that one's great.
The husband and wife. The wife, he was away on a business trip, and the wife they don't say
raped.
sexually assaulted, but she's sexually assaulted, and it messes up her mind. And the husband is out to get revenge, try and find the
That's
person
got
who
a
did it.
great sting in the
And
tail of that one.
They're driving. I'm going to be spoiling this, by the way.
Yeah.
they're driving along, and she sees somebody walking down the street, and she freaks out and goes, "That's him! That's him! That's him!" So he parks, gets I think a tire iron or something out of his car,
Beats the
and
guy
he
to
follows
death.
this guy to a hotel room and kills him. And he gets back in the car saying, "That's okay, everything's fine now." And they're driving along, and they see another guy walking down the street, and she goes, "It's him! It's him! It's him!" Like that.
Yeah, they remade that one of the very first episode of the 80s remake, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, too, and that was really well done. Yeah.
Well, that does sound cool. Yeah, every time I click on it, it's more just like drama than it is than it has that Outer Limits or Twilight Zone or anything like that.
Well, I think that's why in obviously mostly it's going to be kind of dark murder stories or whatever, or serial killer stories, but the Alfred Hitchcock Hour has a lot of variety, and there's some that are out and out supernatural episodes in those, which is cool.
Yeah, I need to give it more of a chance.
Yeah, there are a lot of great ones. But we were talking about Outer Limits. Sorry, Rob. We kind of
that's okay.
Zigzagged off from Outer Limits.
That's okay. Like I said, I am the most ill-prepared I've ever been for one of our streams on this. And I blame it on Mark and Paul from Return of the Sun of the show, because when I should have been preparing for this, they dropped a video, so I went and watched that instead.
Well, I think, Rob, that you and I and probably Nick also have watched so many of these shows of our favorites enough that we don't really need to have too many notes. We could probably just go off.
Well, and usually, like I said, because I did that trip to the road trip, and usually once we start picking shows, I'll go and rewatch a few episodes just to refresh everything before we go live. I did not do that at all this week, so I had planned to do that. 61-year-old memory.
Did you watch One Step Beyond?
I used to. I have not seen that in a long time.
It's pretty good, actually. I know there's a story that Rod Serling and what's his name? The guy, John Newland, who directs and writes a lot of the episodes of One Step Beyond and hosts it too. They ran into each other at a bar or something, and they just had a handshake deal that Serling said, if you just, because they were going out at the same time, they weren't, One Step Beyond wasn't trying to rip off Twilight Zone. They have some similarities, but it was much more in the ghost and paranormal sort of side. And Serling just basically said, you play in that sandbox and we won't have any problem. So that's kind of where they liked each other.
That's interesting, because I read a different thing because One Step Beyond was out before the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
So Twilight Zone had like the pilot movie kind of.
Right.
And then nothing happened. And then they did One Step Beyond. And then I thought I read something where they had like a meeting, and Rod Serling was like, I'm making this show. It's not ripping off your show. It's something that's a little different.
I think it, yeah, I'm probably misremembering the exact context, but it's essentially, it was kind of a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
They were okay with what was each one person was doing. They knew they were kind of going after different sort of segments of genre, and there's some overlap here and there. But One Step Beyond is, I think, was a syndicated show. It didn't have the money that Twilight Zone had. Of course, the money these days doesn't sound like much, but it was, they spent 50-60 grand per half-hour episode, which was a lot of money back then. One Step Beyond was much lower budget, but it had some really good episodes. So that's a worthwhile show to watch too.
As we'll find out later, putting money into a show does not always work.
That's very true. Witness most of the Irwin Allen shows where he puts a lot of money in the pilot and they look great, and then he doesn't. By season 4, he's not spending more than about $20 or something. But
all right,
yeah.
We're at the hour mark, so you should go ahead and move on to yours, Jeff.
Okay. Well, I believe it was Hugwug. I forgot the gentleman's name in the chat, but he mentioned Boris Karloff's Thriller, and so that's what I chose. Now I'm a latecomer to Boris Karloff's Thriller, or sometimes called Thriller, but the reason it's better to use Boris Karloff's Thriller is because there's a quite famous British thriller TV series which came out in the 70s and early 80s. So to distinguish the two, Boris Karloff's Thriller is good. I hadn't seen much of this. It didn't air in reruns that I recall where I was growing up in Washington State, but it came out on DVD. I have there's a bunch all over YouTube, and Thriller is an odd one. It ran for 2 seasons, hosted by Boris Karloff, and he acts in a couple of the episodes. There were 67 episodes made over 2 seasons, 1960 to 1962, and Boris Karloff, a very avuncular host, this is a thriller. He's wonderful, of course. And it started off as more of a lot of the early episodes were more kind of murder mysteries, or like Alfred Hitchcock Presents kind of thing. And they're good, but where Thriller really distinguished itself was they started to adapt classic pulp horror tales and things and do a really fantastic job. That's from The Cheaters. Yeah, that's a great episode. And those are the ones that everyone remembers. And by season 2, they started to hit that kind of sweet spot more and more. But they were having trouble with ratings, expenses, etc., the usual thing. But some of the great episodes of this, and this also had some really high-level theatrical directing talent as well as acting talent. Is that La Strega with Ursula Andress? Yeah, that's a creepy one. So they were hour-long. One of the most famous ones is the adaptation of Robert E. Howard's horror story, Pigeons from Hell. It's actually a really terrific episode. And, for the time, it's unbelievable what they got away with, because one of the victims gets a hatchet in the face, and he comes walking out with the hatchet in his face and blood coming down on network TV in the early 1960s. It's incredible. But that one's excellent. The Cheaters is like I think there's 4 stories in The Cheaters. That's one that I really recommend. It's basically people keep getting a hold of buying in this kind of antique shop, these small old glasses. And when you wear the glasses, you can see the people for who they really are and what they're really thinking. And it leads to all sorts of problems for the people who are wearing the glasses. They adapted Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper by Robert Bloch, which is really cool. They did what I think is the best Auguste Derleth story I've ever read, Mr. George, which is a fantastic ghost story about a really nasty group of relatives. I think it's the mother. Was it the mother or the aunt? I think it was the aunt of this little girl who dies, leaving her a fortune. The aunt's kind of wannabe fiance also dies somewhat suspiciously. And there's these 3 relatives who all are planning to kill off this little girl for her inheritance. And they keep planning all these accidents, but there's this ghost, Mr. George, who's this fiance guy who's come back from the grave to protect her, and it all backfires on the people. It's a fantastic episode. That's more of a gentle kind of ghost story one. There's Hey Fork and Bill Hook. There's one called The Hollow Watcher about a ghostly scarecrow that's going around getting revenge. The Incredible Dr. Markison, which is like a mad scientist, creepy one, starring Boris Karloff as as Dr. Markison. La Strega, set in Italy, about this nasty evil witch woman that's creepy as all hell. The Grim Reaper and The Hungry Glass, 2 starring William Shatner. The Grim Reaper especially is really good, where he's got this portrait of the Grim Reaper, and he's basically he's killed off his rich aunt to get her fortune, and the woman's ward or whatever is suspicious of him, and let's just say the Grim Reaper painting comes to life at the end, and some really just fantastic episodes. So Nick and Rob, have you guys ever seen any of Boris Karloff's Thriller? People in the chat, have you got any memories of Thriller?
I've seen a handful of episodes, but it's been a really long time. I know. I think one of the pictures I showed there is from The Weird Tailor, which was a Robert
The Weird
Bloch
Tailor.
story.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. There was one where some rich guy's drunk son, his father was practicing with sorcery or something. He had a big pentagram on the floor, and his drunk son walks across it. But I don't remember much about it.
There's one called Waxworks, set in a waxworks, of course. There's Terror in the Teakwood, where this composer, he wants to play this famous piece, but his fingers aren't long enough, and so when the composer who wrote this piano piece dies, he has his hands cut up, and he starts to wear his hands like gloves, and then he's possessed to murder people and stuff with them. It's really some really cool, crazy episodes. The Poisoner, there's a bunch of good ones. Some of the crime ones, the straight crime ones, are really good too. So
I've never seen this show, and I can't believe that there's a Robert E. Howard adaptation in this show. I've never.
Yeah, you got to check it out. Yeah, you should be able to find most of them on YouTube. They're beautifully photographed. They're of their time. Of course, we're talking 66 years old or whatever, 65 years old. But some of them still pack a wallop. They're pretty creepy. And they got great music.
I believe they're all available on Tubi right now.
Okay.
And also Outer Limits is available on Tubi. Maybe Twilight Zone as well, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. You sold that well, Jeff. I'm in.
Well, yeah, Boris Karloff, like, Alfred Hitchcock, one of the reasons why people remember Alfred Hitchcock Presents and the Alfred Hitchcock Hour is because of his amusing little introductions and constantly making fun of the commercial sponsors and things. Boris Karloff doesn't do that, but Boris Karloff is a really kind of avuncular sort of host. He's because in real life he was one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. Like all these horror guys like Vincent Price and Peter Cushing, they're all supposed to be lovely guys. I guess they exercise all their demons on screen, but he is a really fun host, and he doesn't come back in the commercial breaks like Hitchcock does, but the show is really good. It's worth checking out. Again, they're not all episodes like on all anthology shows. They're not all created equal. They're not all knock it out of the park. And in the case of Thriller, they are a lot of them just thrillers. But there are at least, I think, 25 to 30 creepy horror ones, many of them based off of actual stories from the pulps or other horror writers. So worth checking out.
That's what sounds amazing to me.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the crime ones probably were taken from the pulps too, Nick. So there were a lot of, back then they had a lot of, and like today where they rip off older shows and older movies, back then they would take from plays and radio shows and books and stories more often. So oops, sorry, bumped my screen.
A lot of those were so good, like Twilight Zone and the old Maverick TV show, is because a lot of their episodes were adapted from actual short stories.
Yeah.
Where now they don't even pay attention to writing. They just want a star attached to it, and then they'll just we'll figure out the script later. Sort of like this episode right here that we're doing.
Well, Mark just mentioned
we got a star. We got Nick. We don't need to worry about
a star.
We got a feature star here, so that's fine. Just like we had a feature star in Jim the last time.
Yeah.
But Mark is mentioning Roald Dahl, and there is a Roald Dahl TV series, I think. Is it Tales of the Unexpected? That he wasn't all for his stories, but that's a British one. There's some really good ones on that. Again, there's so many creepy horror based ones that were influenced by the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, and Thriller. Those are like the big three, I think, of in the kind of weird fiction side of things. All right, Nick. Well, Rob, are you ready? Should we move on since we're going long already? Nick, do you need a break, or do you want to do yours and then take a break? What do you want to do?
No, I'm good. I think I
All
dropped
right.
my piece of paper though. Hold on.
Okay,
That's all right.
you got to get up got to do a Chris Liminal Spaces getting up moment. Wouldn't be a live stream without that.
Look at him all professional with paper notes. That's why he's famous.
And they're probably
Does
even typed
research and
out.
shit.
I think they're typed out. They're like,
I'm just like Chris Farley, like, remember that show? That was really cool.
the show starring that guy.
If I don't write it down, I don't remember anything. I have to write it down. So yeah, my next anthology is the Tales from the Crypt, the HBO adaptation.
That's the main selling point for that show for me, is the Crypt Keeper.
So this is like, I feel like this show is my era. Like this is when I'm coming up. This is what's just on TV. And this is like, I feel like I'm the demographic for it. I'm the age that they kind of want watching it.
Teenager while it was happening, maybe.
Yep. And
watching way too much HBO.
Yeah. I used to love HBO
and Cinemax and all that.
We didn't have Cinemax, but the HBO, watching a movie used to feel so special. Like when you were, like whether you were going to the theater or renting the VHS or watching on HBO, it just really felt like something that was special. And that HBO thing would start and it would like spin around the O, the colors around the O. And
you've heard what HBO is supposed to stand for, right? Hey, Beastmaster's on. that's what it's supposed to. What it's supposed to.
Well, that's cool because I love.
It doesn't really stand for it, obviously, but that's the joke. Hey, Beastmaster's on because they showed the shit out of Beastmaster.
I saw Beastmaster there. I saw Beastmaster 2, which I prefer.
Oh man,
when Beastmaster travels to the current times of the 80s.
Oh god, that one's sorry.
It's gold. It's gold, Jeff. It's gold.
Excuse me. But yeah, no, what you said is very true for Rob and I's earlier generation, where we didn't have, it was before VHS even, and if you wanted to watch a movie or a show, you would just pop on, and you had to find it in the TV guide and circle it and try to make time and try to make sure you had control of the TV and to watch it. And now we live in a cornucopia of riches, which is nice in a lot of ways, but it's it was special and made it kind of more special. Now where you can get it anytime you want, it's like, it's great in its own way, but it's lost something in the change in
all the choices. Technology. It's very overwhelming, and it just doesn't make it feel like it's special. It doesn't feel like it's as personal. Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Ken, I love Don Rickles. I just put that out there. I thought he was hilarious.
Don Rickles is great. And also a sweet guy by all counts.
I love that he was best friends with Bob Newhart, and they would Bob Newhart would be out in the audience and with his wife, and Don Rickles would just be ripping them apart.
Yeah, they and their wives would go on vacation together. They loved each other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Well, do you have a list of favorite Tales from the Crypt episodes? And why you mentioned that this was right peak time to get young Nick's attention. What about the show really grabbed you then?
I think I wasn't a big horror fan growing up, really. Not like gore horror. Like I like the Twilight Zone horror and that stuff. But like gory stuff, I didn't get it. And this was the first show that I was like, I'm starting to understand it now. I'm starting to understand the appeal of the gore.
Because of boobies?
And because of boobies.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Do you think that Tales from the Crypt got the green light partially because of the success of Creepshow? Because I think Creepshow came first, if I recall right, and it had a pretty big impact, I think. And shortly thereafter, I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering it correctly, and I could be wrong, that's when HBO decided to do another, because that was like a pretend EC Comics thing. And so they just went straight up EC Comics inspired for the show. And I think it kind of paved the way for Tales from the Crypt to get that launch and do very well. So I didn't have HBO either. Like Mark said, he was too poor to have HBO. I don't think we could get it in my boondocks rural area, but at least not for a while. But I would see some of the, I guess, cleaned up versions that they would repeat on regular TV channels or whatever. And I thought it was a pretty cool show. But what do you guys think of am I way off base there with the Creep Show?
I don't know. You're very knowledgeable, Jeff. So if you say Creep Show came first, I believe you. But I thought it was the other way around.
Well, it could very well be the other way around. So, like I said, I know just enough to get in trouble. So, anyway, please take it away, Nick, and I'll research on which one came first. But
before we get too far, I want to acknowledge this comment where the Groovy here says that Monsters did a Manly Wade Wellman story.
They did.
Please hear more, just real quick.
Yeah, Rouse Him Not. They did a John Thunston story. Rouse Him Not, one of Wellman's later John Thunston stories, and he even says John Thunston in it. And he pulls out his sword and says, "The sick or whatever, the so perish all thine enemies, O Lord," or whatever. Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, Monsters was spotty, but sometimes it could do some really cool stuff.
Wow.
So
you guys are blowing my mind. First robbery.
Yeah, you got to go there on the that one should be on YouTube. There's some other.
I've seen episodes of Monsters, and it wasn't good. No. But a Manly Wade Wellman, wow. Even if it's not good, I still want to watch it.
It's not, we're not talking a lost classic by any means, but it's just so cool to see. They got the guy. Do you remember Airwolf, Nick?
The helicopter.
Yeah, there was the spy guy. His name is Alex Cord. He had the mustache and he had the cane. That guy plays a slightly younger version of him, I think, or maybe around the same age. That guy plays Thunston.
Oh,
so he's pretty good. But that is a good thing to raise about Monsters, is it does have one Manly Wade Wellman episode adaptation.
All right, that is cool. Good to know. Okay, Tales from the Crypt. These aren't in order, but some of my favorite episodes. I'll start with the very first episode I watched, which was the one with Bill Paxton. It's called People Who Live in Brass Hearses, and it has what's his name? He played the Wormwood in Lord of the Rings.
Brad Dourif.
Yes. They're brothers, him and Bill Paxton.
That's a very unlikely brother.
Right. And so Bill Paxton just got out of jail, and he wants to rob the ice cream man, which is apparently where they worked. So he's like payback. He's this really trashy dude. And so they go to rob this ice cream man that they don't like, Bird. And they get in this situation where we're spoiling here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Bird is attached. He's a conjoined twin. So there's like two of them. And one's like this crazy killer dude. Oh my God. That really upset me as a child, as a teenager. And it really stuck. And I think that's what really got me interested in watching more Tales from the Crypt, because I was like, that was scary, but I want more,
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt was 89 to 96 and Creep Show was 82.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
So I guess that's too much of a difference to maybe make a huge impact, but I maybe it was enough of a success Creep Show was for them to think, hey, we could do something with this. I don't know. That's I'm just spitballing there, but Tales from the Crypt had a long run. That's like 7 seasons.
Yeah, they had 7 seasons. The last season was all British.
Oh,
for some reason.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, the Brits can do a scary story when they want to. My God, yeah. But
we watched one this morning, and it was very like 90s and bloody, and it did not feel like Tales from the Crypt, but not bloody and like I feel like there's 80s gore, and then there's like 90s I don't know how to describe the difference, but I know it when I see it.
80s seems more fun somehow. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
about to say that. Where 90s is like very dark and serious. So I also like the episodes. There's a Till Death, which is like a voodoo episode where this guy's a land developer in like Jamaica or something. And it's he's building on a swamp. He doesn't know it's a swamp and he needs more money. So there's this rich woman who comes to town and he's trying to get her to fall in love with him to get her money. And then he goes to his ex-girlfriend, Voodoo Lady, and she works this like potion. And then she ends up killing her, but the lady comes back from the grave as like this corpse who's still in love with him, like trying to get him. Oh my god, it's so good.
This is a kind of new world for me because I've seen only a handful of episodes. So most of these I'm not gonna know about at all.
I like the one I love Carol Kane, and there's a Carol Kane episode called Judy or Not. I have that one on the list. Yes. There's so Carol Kane, she's like this weird kind of housewife, and this woman comes to the door as like a traveling salesperson, and she tricks her to like buy this necklace, and she buys the necklace, and then he switch places with Carol Kane. So the spirits switch. That's just kind of a funny episode. But
yeah, that's my memory of it. Is it seemed a lot of comedy actors were cast, and there seemed like I think it was quite, like you say, quite bloody and gory and stuff. But there seemed to be a definite undercurrent of humor in most of the episodes.
Absolutely. And when I was going through, we have a book of Tales from the Crypt, and it has all the episodes. I was telling my wife, I was like, I never realized seeing this all laid out like this, how funny this show was.
Mm-hmm.
Like it pretty much most of them have elements of humor in them.
Yeah.
And I guess the Crypt Keeper's dialogue is a lot of it is kind of pun filled stuff,
So. Well, they got that straight from the EC comics too. All the stories, they're just straight from the comics, and not just in specific to that title. They're from like the Haunt of Fear, the Vault of Terror, even the crime. There's lots of crime episodes, but they're very horrific.
I need to get some of those great comic digest versions they've put out.
The Dark Horse ones? Stuff. Oh, the hardcovers. I got those.
Yeah. I'll probably just cheap out and get the trade paperbacks, but they look so cool though.
They are. They're awesome.
The weird fantasy and weird science fiction and all that. Yeah.
So the one with Morton Downey Jr. that you showed is Television Terror, where he's like this God, just himself
basically.
Yeah, he goes to this haunted house and he's like, it's fake, blah, 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 blah. And then he gets killed. And I'm just like, man, just watching Morton Downey Jr. like get it, that makes him that makes it to the top of the list. There is not to get on a Morton Downey Jr. trip here, but there is like hilarious stuff where he's on Arsenio Hall singing. Do you know he put out an album where he's like singing songs, and he's on Arsenio Hall singing this song? Like, I think people are booing him. Oh my god,
isn't he in Natural Born Killers too? I thought he was in that Oliver Stone movie playing a pretty odious character. No surprise, but
I don't remember.
Yeah, I have not seen that movie since it came out in theaters.
So maybe it's just Robert Downey Jr., but I thought his dad had a part in that too. I'm probably misremembering. Anyway, Tales from the Crypt. I'm sure we have a lot of people of a similar age that remember this show very well. This one is one that I didn't have HBO. It was probably something I would have watched, although maybe too comedic for me at that time. But I'd like to watch some now. So you have to send me your list of favorite episodes, Nick. I'll search them out. The voodoo one sounds cool.
They have a couple. There's a few that are very similar to that, where someone goes to the Caribbean and there's a voodoo kind of thing going on.
There's a voodoo thriller episode called Papa Benjamin too. So, there's gotta love a good voodoo episode.
Yeah.
Rob's been pretty silent. Have you watched this show much, Rob? You got any memories of this?
Way back when I would catch it whenever I could, but I didn't remember much of it. But when Nick told me he was picking this show, I did go back and watch one episode, which was The Death of Some Salesman, which has who just passed away recently, Tim Curry.
Oh yeah,
playing all three of the Brackett family.
wow.
But that was a fun episode. Fun murderous family episode.
Yeah,
It's fun.
that's
when someone
humorous
plays
also.
all their episodes. When someone plays all characters.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize that at the time that first of all, I didn't even realize it was Tim Curry. And then I didn't realize that all three of them were Tim Curry when I watched it.
That's great. Yeah, he was a pretty talented dude. Yeah.
I think about Demon Knight. I thought the movies were okay.
Yeah, Demon Knight was okay. And what was the other one? Bordello of Blood or something? Or what was it called? There was Demon Knight, and then there was the vampire one. Which one had Dennis Miller as a supposed badass kind of journalist guy or something? I enjoyed those. Yeah, I like the Tales from the Dark Side movie too, with Blondie and the gargoyles and stuff. Yeah. Those are things I caught in the theater. So I definitely saw the Tales from the Crypt movies in the theater. And I'm guessing they were a little, not only longer, but they were a little even more gory than the HBO versions. I'm not sure though, but
yeah, I don't know. I just have a couple more. The Creep Course with Jeffrey Jones and Anthony Michael Hall, where he's got the mummy in the basement. He has to trick that girl to go down there in the basement. And then House of Horror, which is the pledge night for the fraternity. That's probably my favorite episode. They go to
who's in that one? Do you remember?
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton?
Yeah, well, I think
Family Guy reference.
one of Frank Zappa's kids. I forget which one. But yeah, it's like this. There's a murder house, and they're like, you got to go to the top floor, ring the bell or whatever.
Oh, that sounds like a cool episode.
Yeah, but they have it kind of rigged to scare them. But then all this stuff starts happening that isn't part of the plan. I won't even spoil it since Jeff, you haven't seen it. That's my favorite.
No, and I like to see, college frat creeps get their comeuppance. So,
Yes, exactly. And then the last on the list is the What's Cooking with Christopher Reeves and Judd Nelson, where Christopher Reeves owns the diner and it's kind of going under, it's failing. And then Judd Nelson comes in with a recipe to save the day. And it's, of course, human meat. So they're just serving human meat to all the people.
Yeah, shut up, Wesley. No, I just think of the hilarious Family Guy episode where Stewie is saying Will Wheaton. The way he's pronouncing it is really funny. Anyway, that sounds cool. I need to check out some of those. Yeah, I like a good horror anthologies are great. I like reading them. So, short, punchy, one and done sort of stories. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I have for
go back and add all of these to my to-be list.
Well, I think for Rob's second one, he's veering sharply to the left.
I promise you that I'm going to stay on track. So, for my second pick, sure, I could go with something good. But I figure if you take, let's see, who was it? Donald D. Westlake, 3-time Edgar Award winning writer, Grandmaster of the Mystery Writers Guild of America, and you couple him with Earl Wallace, who wrote episodes for Gunsmoke, did the adaptation for War and Remembrance. What else did he do? How the West Was Won, the movie Witness. And you combine that with Dan Curtis Production, who created Dark Shadows. And then you have NBC pour in all of their money to make this the most expensive show ever produced at the time. How could you possibly go wrong? And what we got was Supertrain. Supertrain. It only lasted 9 episodes, and that's including the 2-hour pilot. It was supposed to be like the Love Boat on wheels, with this nuclear powered train that could go from have top speeds of 250 miles an hour and go from New York to Los Angeles in only 36 hours, which puts it around 76 miles an hour, slower than an Amtrak. But the train had its own built-in discotheque. It had shopping centers. It had a gym. It had a swimming pool, which doesn't seem like a good idea on a train. And
Lots of
much like
flushing.
Love Boat, they would have 3 interlocking story or 3 different stories within each episode. It was supposed to be originally more centered around mystery and suspense. So each week you'd have, evidently on this train, you would have hitmen and assassins and mobsters and everybody else. But they spent all of their money on the trains and none of it on scripts or acting. Somewhere around, I think it was episode 7, they tried to reshuffle it, add a couple of new crew members, sort of a Julie character similar to Love Boat. Tried to go a little bit more comedic, but that lasted for about 2 episodes, and NBC finally just yanked it. This show almost bankrupted NBC. Between this and at the same time, they had the boycott of the Olympic Games, which was supposed to be on NBC. So this was the second blow that almost took out the network.
1979.
Yes, 1979.
I've never seen this show. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Did you
And all
watch
my
it when it was on, Rob?
Yes, I did. And even then, I knew it
surprised I
was
never saw it.
terrible, and yet I kept watching it.
Because you didn't have any choice back then. That's what you guys are saying.
Well,
No.
if Rob was like me at all, he would be combing through the fall TV
Yes.
preview of the TV guide and circling and looking at shows that sounded promising and watching them, and watching most of the ones you liked die after a couple of episodes. And then sometimes the ones that you didn't like also dying, as they should, an ignominious death like Supertrain. But for some reason, I just didn't catch this one. That's interesting.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. You can see sort of a VHS fuzzy copy on YouTube. They may have other episodes on YouTube, but you can see the 2-hour pilot. It's just bad. I don't even know
the pilot's bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the model work is great, but they built like 3 models. One is this giant life-size one to show it coming out of the terminal. Then they had a let me see if I can show some pictures here. So they built
They
this
spent all their money on this
giant one, and there's some of the ads for it. The most colossal train in the world becomes the setting for comedy, mystery, romance, and suspense.
It's the new, soon to be almost.
And stars that guy. And it also stars those guys. And
So they put more money in the guest stars.
Like Pagoda,
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Zsa Zsa Gabor,
Gabor, Peter Lawford.
Peter Lawford. So like a Love Boat for sure,
And
or a Fantasy
these were
Island.
the 2 people that they added by episode 7.
Seems a little Love Boaty to me there.
Very
Someone with
much.
the same Lauren Tweez haircut.
There's
Oh, that was cool. Can you go back to that one where
Yeah.
they're walking around the set?
yeah,
That's
so
cool.
that was
Or
one of
the
the
prop.
middle-sized ones they did, and then they also did a smaller one,
Wow.
and then they just used forced perspective to make it look like it was a giant
And let me
train.
guess, every single subsequent episode of the pilot used the exact same footage of the train going through. Probably
That I
pretty
don't
much.
know.
But I wouldn't be surprised. It's like Battlestar Galactica. They use the same
Yeah.
space battle footage over and over
You
and over.
would you would think they would, being it's on a track. It's not like the second episode they can go somewhere else. They're still going to be traveling from New York to LA.
Well, I like a good train story, but this doesn't sound like it's a good one. So
It's not a good train story. And the thing is that with all those talented people attached to it, and I think if they would have not made it like a nuclear powered submarine or nuclear powered train with swimming pools and discotheques, and they just would have went more like an old school anthology with just mystery and suspense stories on a train, I think that would have been fantastic if you got good writers and focused on that. But they tried to get that sci-fi sort of element in there.
as the go big or go
and
home
it
era.
And they spent every dollar on that model, which was later put up for sale. I don't know if you can still buy it, but
Someone has it running around like a toy train in their backyard or something. That's crazy. Back in time for Supertrain.
Only had 3 channels.
Only 3 channels.
Yeah, no.
Well, we had the 3 channels, but I'm sure Rob, you also had the local ones. That's where I caught a lot of the older shows.
Well, at that time, I think I was living in Podunk, Missouri. So I think we actually only got 3 channels there. Phoenix, we got a couple more.
Is that the real name? Podunk? That's great.
No, it's Lowndes, Missouri.
Okay.
Which at the time I was there had a population of 75 people.
Well, even in my little hick town in Southwest Washington, I was able to turn the TV antenna and pick up channel 11 and channel 13 to watch stuff like Wild Wild West and the Riflemen and things. So, back then it was just TV, black and white color. I didn't care, just TV, and I was sucking it all up, as a TV nerd, young TV nerd.
Ruby Graveyard trying to sell the trains in the back of Model Railroader magazine.
Do you think that they made model versions of it?
Oh,
I don't know. I know they tried to sell the real one, the prop. Just like, can we just have some of our money back?
Well, I keep hearing stories through the years of how like they'd go through and clear out every once in a while, Fox or Paramount or Universal, all their props and costumes and stuff, and just toss them in the dumpster. Sometimes they would do an auction, but sometimes they'd just throw stuff out in the dumpster, and fans would come along and that they're throwing some stuff out, and they'd dumpster dive and pull out these great old costumes and
that's amazing,
and props and things. Yeah, I think we had PBS. I didn't have any UHF channels like people talk about, but I had Channel 11, Channel 13, Channel 9 was the PBS, and then I had the main CBS, ABC, and NBC, and then later Fox came along, so it became 7 channels eventually. But
I think in Phoenix at that time we had 5 with the UHF, and then for 3 years we lived in Missouri, and it was 3 channels. That's it.
Misspent youth. That's why we know too much of stuff that's not worth much. But anyway, no scale. There were scale models. There were scale models used for the show. Okay.
Not model trains for your home model train set.
That is definitely one that I never would have occurred to me. Yeah, Bob Burns got a bunch of stuff that way for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Burns. Do you know Bob Burns, Nick? Bob Burns was this guy that would sometimes he would wear gorilla suits on some shows and movies in the 80s, and he was he was a friend of Forey Ackerman, and he was big time into movies and special effects and things.
He's a big collector, and also was a big time. He was the guy you'd call if you needed a guy in a gorilla suit, because he owned his own gorilla suit. So he was on like the Saturday morning Ghostbusters back before the movie version of it.
And he passed away a few years back. He apparently was a really nice guy, and he and his wife would do these Halloween shows every year, and they would do they would get all these real life Hollywood special effects guys who were their friends, and they would make, like, one year it'd be like The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and one year it would be the creature from the Black Lagoon, and they'd build an actual lagoon and have someone in the suit and to scare trick-or-treaters, and people would line up down the street to go into this thing and stuff. So they were really elaborate things.
Was he a musician?
No,
No,
that might be a different Bob Burns. No, I'm pretty sure he
the original drummer for Leonard Skinner is named Bob Burns.
Yeah,
and I would put him around the same
that
age
would be
that you're
hilarious
talking
if it was the same guy.
That would be hilarious, but it's not the same. No, unfortunately, not the same. Bob Burns is probably Rick Baker refurbished. Yeah, did a lot of stuff. He was friends with all these guys that worked on some big.
If you ever watch any of those B schlock sci-fi movies where there's a guy in a gorilla suit,
probably Bob.
Chances are it was Bob Burns.
Oh, that's cool because he had his own.
Yeah,
he had his own, and he was friends with a lot of these people that were making these movies, right? So they'd call him in. Well, I guess before we bore people too much longer with our musings and we're already at 1:45 minutes. I'll finish up with my last choice, which also is zigzagging off in a different direction. I had a lot of idea. I want to do a British show because I love British shows, and they had a lot of cool, creepy kind of anthology shows like Supernatural, Shadows. No Supernatural, no relation to the later WB series. It was an anthology series. Dramarama, Spooky, there's a whole bunch of them, but I chose a detective one instead, The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes. So The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes were first books, and these are some books I pulled out of my storage back home, where they were popular and running in the Strand magazine at the same time as Sherlock Holmes, and they were full of all these cool illustrations at the time. And there's also a Rivals of H.G. Wells. But there were all these other detectives that were coming out around the same time as Sherlock Holmes. And so these books came out, and then the guy who edited these books was a former BBC head of programming or something. And then the ITV, Thames Television, made House of Hammer, of course, and Hammer's House of Horror, and Hammer's House of Mystery and Suspense, I think was the other one. There were a bunch, but this was from 1971 to 1973. There were 2 seasons of 13 one-hour episodes, and they dramatized many of these stories that came out there, including a Carnacki story. Donald Pleasance plays Carnacki in an adaptation called The Horse of the Invisible. And Rob, I think I sent you some images with him. That's Dixon Drew's story. So some people mocked up some things. That's from the first season. So you'll have Lady Molly of Scotland Yard and Simon Carne, a master of disguise, out to get revenge on the people who wronged his family. Martin Hewitt. Twice they have 2 of this. You see the Peter Vaughan character there, the one wearing the bowler hat and the top hat down on the lower left. He plays an utter schmuck, kind of a crooked detective called Horace Dorrington, who had a lot of these guys had series of stories about them. And then there's another one, Rob, from season 2 that I think that I sent you, that's similar montage. That's Dr. Thorndyke, John Neville playing Dr. Thorndyke, who's even more egotistical than Sherlock Holmes. That's Martin Hewitt. Who is that actor's name? He's a great actor. I can't think of his name right now. Peter Barkworth. That's it. And there was the blind detective, Max Carados, here played by Robert Stevens, who played Sherlock Holmes in the Private Life of Sherlock Holmes movie. Sorry, but this is Carnacki. Sorry, that's Donald Pleasance playing Carnacki. And there should be another picture of him with the... there you go. He looks like he's creepy, but no, Carnacki it's not the way I pictured him from the stories, but he does a very good job. The Horse Invisible, apparently there's a ghost of invisible horse that's terrorizing a family in this estate, and he's called in to investigate. That's John Neville as Dr. Thorndyke, using early CSI methods. Those are very cool stories. These are all real stories that appeared in, actual periodicals back in the Victorian and Edwardian eras, and they're very cool. The first season is the strongest. The second season is still very good, but not quite as strong. There we go. They have these little cool little interstitials. There's him as Carnacki, and they had a couple of female detectives in there too. This is season 2, so we have Martin Hewitt comes back again. We have it's supposed to be an old man in the corner story. what's her name? Help me out, Rob. Judy Geeson there.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have Alfred, Michael Goff, who played Alfred in the 60s Batman series. He, no, not 60s Batman. Sorry. In the Tim Burton Batman films, he plays a character called, maybe he's Dixon Drew. Anyway, we have Eugene Valmont, played by Charles Gray there. We have, forgot who the guy down in the bottom left is. Anyway, and there's also Professor Van Dusen, the Thinking Machine. There's a couple episodes featuring him. Very cool show. Now, I know, Nick, you haven't read much in the way of Sherlock Holmes yet, but the variety of these stories, some of them are slightly comedic, like the one has some supernatural elements, the Karnacki one. Most of them are just straight up mysteries. They're very cool, but you do have to have a tolerance for British television at the time that has videotaped interiors and 16 millimeter filmed exteriors. But yeah, the great ghost stories. They weren't called great ghost stories. What were they called? It was the Ghost Story for Christmas line. They did a lot of M.R. James adaptations. Tim doesn't know Doctor Who, Blake Seven, The Prisoner, The Good Neighbors, The Good Life, as it was called there. Yeah, Karnacki made it to TV in just that one episode, Chris. And Red Dwarf, of course, but a very later era. But yeah, this series, if you like that kind of classic detective story, is well worth seeking out. And I believe most of them are on YouTube. And I can highly recommend several of them, especially from the first season. But the second season is good too. I have them both on DVD. Network put out the DVD sets, and then in the US, I think Carlton Video put them out. And they weren't cheap, but they are prizes in my collection. I do pull them out and watch episodes once in a while. That's part of the charm, Jeff. Yeah.
You did stump me with this one, Jeff. I didn't know that these ever got made into a TV series. I know the books.
Were you aware of the books? Yeah.
Yeah, I know the books, and I also have The Rivals of H.G. Wells up there as well, but I didn't know
they ever
made a series of it.
Well, there's also very famous, I think it's The Tales of the Unknown. Yeah. There's a couple of ones that many of them have been wiped and missing, but they had adaptations of Frankenstein, and they had The Naked Sun, the robot detective Elijah Bailey thing that Isaac Asimov wrote. There's a bunch of The Machine Stops. I know Chris at Liminal Spaces talked about that. They did it. I think that's one of the ones that still exists. So British TV has because they have a long history of what they call television plays, and they have a lot of shows that, including Play for Today, that ran for decades and decades. But yeah, that's right, Tim. The modern seasons of Doctor Who kind of suck. The more recent ones anyway. But yeah, so a lot of people know Doctor Who, and they know maybe Blake Seven, and they know, of course, Space 1999 and UFO and things, and some of the other
those aren't anthologies
shows.
No,
they're not anthologies.
Those are shows that,
in the chat, they're bringing up a lot of famous British shows. But if you dig deeper, there's a whole bunch of cool anthology shows that they did, and top-notch acting and casts. Thanks, Jake. And so this is a kind of esoteric one, but if you're a fan of this kind of stuff, if you like Sherlock Holmes and you wish there was more of that kind of stuff to watch, then look for the show. It's pretty cool.
I can't believe there's a Karnacki. Jeff, how many pulp stories adaptations are you sitting on? Because you just laid 3 down in this episode. Is there more? Just tell me now. Don't even tell me. You need to make an episode about it. That would be
there you go.
Well, yeah. So you learned some things. There's a Karnacki one. There's a John Thurston Wellman adaptation on Munsters. And what was the other one?
Pigeon of Hell.
Oh yeah, the Robert E. Howard Pigeons from Hell. Yep. You got a watch list for the rest of the weekend there.
That's crazy. What else you got? What else are you sitting on?
It's hard telling. There are so many anthology series. When I was trying to go through this, I was like, oh, there's probably, because I'm just thinking of the normal ones. I'm like, there's probably not that many. And holy crap, that list was long.
Well, yeah, with this Rivals of Sherlock Holmes, there's three characters that come back twice, but everyone else is standalones, and the other ones are standalone stories. So they're different stories featuring the same character. So it's definitely the Carnacki one. Again, don't, it's really cool. I like it a lot, but don't overplay it. Raise your expectations too high. Just go in expecting a fun little mystery / supernatural story and watch Donald Pleasant's the sharp scene. Yeah, you guys are mentioning a bunch of excellent stuff that's not anthology, but lovely British stuff. And if you get me started on British shows, I'm going to be here all night because I love them. And when you start to dig into them, I thought I knew a bunch from watching PBS growing up, but you just learn that they're in the 1970s, especially. The well is so deep. There were so many cool things made in the 70s in the UK.
Yeah,
didn't have a lot of money.
Most of my British TV comes from PBS. So
yeah,
if it didn't show there, I probably didn't see it.
Well, there's this, I mentioned before, maybe here and there, this company called Network, which unfortunately went out of business. It's coming. People are trying to resurrect it as we speak, and they put out a metric ton of stuff that I had never heard of. And I kept kept rolling on. What, this show looks cool. Wow, this show is cool. I've never heard of this one. I've never heard of this. And they would do the big guns too, but if they could. But yeah, so much cool stuff.
There's also a show, Nick, called Lights Out. That was an anthology show.
Yeah, Arch Obler's Lights Out, based off the radio show. Have you listened to that one?
No, I've only heard the radio show. I didn't know they made a TV out of it.
Did you listen to the one about the chicken heart that grows bigger and bigger and bigger?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, that one's pretty famous. And of course, the science fiction radio show ones, X-1 and Dimension X. Those are great. Because in radio, your imagination is doing all the work. So don't worry about the budget. That's the downfall of a lot of classic TV shows, is they don't have the budget to make stuff come across as it should. Anyway, that's all I got. I could talk about a ton of other ones, but we've already probably went long enough.
We're about the 2-hour mark.
Yeah. Well, Rob and Nick, you want to talk about what you got coming up on your channels? Nick's probably got another A-lister interview in his back pocket somewhere.
I have 2 videos that I'm currently editing that are already recorded, and one is me and Chadwick talk about The Man from Avon.
Oh, nice.
The Michael Abalone book. So we do a
Chadwick mentioned he was going to be on your show. That's great.
So yeah, me and Chadwick, and that will be first, and then after that, I did an interview with Gary Lavisi.
Oh, nice.
And that will be after that.
The Godfather.
That's right. It's great. It's very inspiring. And
I nerd out hard for Gary Lavisi. So
he's
still very passionate about it.
Oh yeah.
And he gets like he says some interesting
yeah, he's not going to hold back his opinions from what I could tell.
He does not, and it is awesome. I really hope that everyone watches it. It's so good.
Oh yeah.
Looking forward to those big time. How about you, Rob? What you got going? What you cooking up?
I have no idea. I know I'll be on Rolling Shorties on Tuesday again.
Me too.
I have some more restoration videos. I need to try some.
That was
videos
a
I
great
need to do,
video.
and then some that I need to experiment on.
I was very annoyed with myself that I tried to take a Goodwill tag off of a book that Steve sent me, the Friday by Robert A. Heinlein, and I botched it and ripped part of the cover. And I was like, damn it, if I had just waited to watch Rob's episode, I would have maybe got it off. Those damn Goodwill stickers are evil.
They're the worst.
He got this this Gothic Wilderness Inn.
Oh,
it's in really good shape. But whoever the previous owner is, evidently there's some spice in it, and she found that offensive.
Oh no!
So she took ballpoint pen, and there's a few places.
It's like the reassembled man cover.
I'm going to be doing a lab experiment on this, which
to
may
try to
or may
remove the
not end
ink.
up on YouTube, depending on how successful it is.
Oh.
Not to get rid of it, but just to maybe lighten it up, that ink, to see if I can bring back the words to make it readable
Probably
again.
impossible to get rid of it totally. That would be very interesting to see.
So
I was looking for Gothics everywhere when I was book hunting back in the Pacific Northwest, and I couldn't really find any. They
You
weren't
usually
those
don't.
weird.
Yeah, it's like one or two. I never have gotten like a big grouping of them.
Yeah, like I told you, Nick, online, I wish I could have, pilfered my grandmother's collection after she passed away. I'm sure they just went somewhere to Goodwill or the dump or something. And she had I don't think she was a big fan of Gothics, but she read a lot of that kind of stuff, and a lot of it crept in there. And I remember she had a ton of them. Books in the mail, Rob. Okay. Yeah. So I looked, I found a couple of like Helen, what's her name? There was like,
Helen
sorry?
McInnes?
No, it was another Helen lady that was pretty famous, but they looked more straight romance or historical romance. They didn't look Gothic. I kept looking for the lady running away from the house with the light on, and I couldn't see any of them. So it's a bummer. But it would be an experiment anyway, because I still have to read the Doomed Lake or whatever, the one you sent me, Nick, which looks really cool. I think
the Brooding Lake. That one is
Brooding
cool.
Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you reviewed it with Eric, and I didn't watch all that episode because I wanted to read the book first. So
yeah, that's a good one.
I do have one other teaser announcement to make.
Oh yes, that's right.
Jeff doesn't even know about this yet. So do you remember those old shows where they'd have the 2-part crossover episodes where you have part 1 on $6 Million Man and part 2 on Bionic Woman?
Yeah.
Well,
Bigfoot. Yep.
From the early stages, but we are going to be doing a 2-part crossover episode with The Return of the Son of the Show with Paul and Mark.
This show here is going to do one.
Yeah. So we haven't worked out yet exactly how that's going to be formatted or do it. But yes, we're going to do a 2-part crossover with our friends Paul and Mark. And if you have not seen or subscribed to Return of the Son of the Show, please go do that. If you like vintage TV shows and movies,
and people making
do a
fun
fantastic job. And
with love.
Two guys sitting around the table talking about cool shit. So
that sounds very cool. That's great. Looking forward to that.
I'm excited about that. Meanwhile, I believe it's your turn to pick a genre for next time.
I was thinking sitcoms, classic sitcoms.
We can do that.
Oh man. Before you were 20? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, no, most of the only real sitcoms I like for the most part are old ones. So
Mr. Ed, Make Room for Daddy, My Three Sons.
I don't like Make Room for Daddy. I do like Andy Griffith's Show and The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet and My Three Sons and all that. So we probably won't get many viewers, Rob. Sorry, but I think we should tackle sitcoms.
It doesn't matter.
As long as you don't choose Maude, please don't choose Maude. I hate B. Arthur.
Oh, no, you know that I'm going to choose something weird and defunct.
Quark!
Quark, that's a good call.
Yeah, speaking of...
Gotta throw my sci-fi in there somewhere.
Yeah, and also it stars Alan Caillou as the big something head, right? So
yeah.
Alan Caillou, the writer.
Twins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Alan Caillou was an actor too. He was not just a writer and screenwriter. He's in a lot of shows. He's in a couple Rat Patrol. He's at least one Rat Patrol. He's in at least one, maybe 2 thrillers. So
that's how you say his last name?
Caillou, I think. I think it's Caillou because it's supposed to be French, I think. But could be Caillou. I've never heard it pronounced. Return of the Son of Jeff's Archive. Mary Tyler Moore Show, yeah. Bachelor Father. Bachelor Father is great. Have you guys seen Bachelor Father?
No.
John Forsyth as a swinging early 60s bachelor. He's always dating and going after it, chicks every episode, and he's kind of saddled with a preteen young girl that like it was his sister's daughter or something, and he has to take care of her, and he's got a really cool Asian valet and chauffeur who is super funny and snarky. That's a fun show. Anyway, we're not going to have Nick watching that one probably, although unless we talk about, the Addams Family or the Munsters. You got to, I'll put you on the spot, Nick. Which is your favorite, Addams Family or the Munsters?
I never watched them.
Neither one? Really? You're missing out, man. The Munsters is funny.
Do you have a go-to beloved sitcom from childhood?
Seinfeld.
I'm so fucking
Childhood.
old.
Well, I guess it is almost 20 years old now.
I'll tell you what, we'll go back a little bit further. I'm Married with Children.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm all right with Married with
that was a
Children.
big deal when that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's a funny one. It's still funny. It's very politically incorrect these days, but very funny. Yeah.
I think it was back then. I think that was like the point of it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy some modern comedies very much. Like I'm a fan of Modern Family, and I just don't watch a lot of modern TV. So to my mind, I was for a long time I didn't like sitcoms, but I've really come around to some of the old ones. I kind of like their, like the Beverly Hillbillies. It's stupid idea, but it is really funny if you watch the show. Some of the lines in that, Buddy Ebsen plays it so straight, but he's got these awesome zingers all the time. Anyway, we'll probably have about 3 people watching, Rob. Sorry, but I think we should tackle sitcoms.
Are you guys going to do TV movies? Because that would be an awesome.
Oh, we need to do TV movies. Yeah, for sure.
At some point, we do need to have I already know what TV movie I'd pick.
Well, before we started this, and Rob was mooting the idea to me, and of course I was, I got overly excited and sent him a list of about 20 genres that we could do to start. And so I'm sure I had TV movies on the list, and if I didn't, I should have. So Battle of the Network Stars. It's not Hogan's Heroes, definitely. Hogan's Heroes is fun. Very fun. Battle of the Network Stars. I don't know, how would we classify that? Rob, would that be like a game show or
what's known as event TV?
Event TV, or what's also known as crap TV, but I tell you watch the early episodes where they get the dunk tank. Those scenes are clipped mercilessly on and over again on YouTube, because they get people like Cheryl Ladd and Linda Carter to crawl into with the swimsuit into the dunk tank there.
Oh, really? Linda Carter.
It's very worth watching. Let's put it that way.
Right.
It's very worth watching.
I watched some TV movie with her in it. It was she worked at a bar. There's some guy trying to get her or something.
Yeah, it's funny to see Linda Carter pre-Wonder Woman show up in some shows. So she shows up in like a Nokia with Robert Forster as a Native American cop, and she's really good actually. Gilligan's Island for the win. Yeah, Gilligan's Island is one that I thought was stupid even as a kid, but watching it now, I like it. It's fun.
See,
anime next time.
We can't talk about anime because I don't know that existed before we were 20 years old.
Kimber the White Lion and Speed Racer. We could do that. Tim, we'll have you on for an animated episode. It won't necessarily be anime, but it could be animation. We'll get Tim on for animation so he could talk Redwall and whatever he wants to talk about from anime.
Well, you have to talk about stuff before you turn 20, so I think we have to.
I think we can.
So I think we have to wait for Tim to turn 20, and then and then he can talk about anything.
And we end on a Tim slam. There we go. That's only right and proper.
Blazers.
Petticoat Junction.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was like, "What the hell is the name of that other hillbilly show?"
Yeah, there were several. There were Green Acres, which is really surreal.
Green Acres.
And they even had crossovers with all 3 because they were all done by Paul Henning's company and his daughter Linda something Henning was one of the sisters on Petticoat Junction, which is also a very cute show.
This is why he's my co-host, Nick. He has some sort of computer chip in his brain.
For real, it's insane.
Where it just downloads
it's
all
just too much
knowledge.
Wasted time on wasted, useless information.
But you remembered it. We've watched and read the same stuff. Just remember.
No, I had some guy ask me once that I worked with. He said, "How do you remember all this stuff?" And I'm like, "How do you remember all these sports stats?" I could name any sports player, and this guy would spit out stats about his. And I had no freaking clue about it. So it's just what you're interested in. You remember. That's all. I'm sure you could go to town on some baseball facts there.
No, I couldn't.
Nick.
Maybe music. That's about it.
Maybe music. Yeah, punk music.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have much other than I'm done with book hauls after the one I dropped last night. So
it's time for some of us to give our bladders a break. So
yep. So we will see you in upcoming videos. Thanks a bunch for watching, everybody.
Yes.
Sorry if we talked about some stuff you had no idea about, but we covered some big ones, I think. So thanks so much for Nick to come on.
Try to actually be more organized next time.
You were fine.
Or maybe not.
Yeah. I don't think this needs to be that organized. So
all right,
people
guys.
tune in for the chaos probably. Yep, Marine Boy. Yep. Okay, thanks a bunch. See everyone later.